All right, last example, we have the square root of x squared minus 4x plus 29. We want to find out where are any relative max or mins. As usual, we take the first derivative. Now notice here that we're going to need to use the chain rule. So remember, that taking a square root is the same thing as taking something to the 1/2 power. So the derivative of this is going to be 1/2 times, and I'm actually going to write this in the denominator, and you'll see why in a second. 1/2, the 1/2 comes in front. 1/2 minus 1 will be negative 1/2, so that means we have a square root in the denominator, and you leave the rest of it alone. So the 1/2 came in front. 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2, which is the square root in the denominator. Then we multiply the chain rule, meaning we multiply the derivative of the inside, which is going to be just 2x minus 4. That looks terrible, but luckily it's going to simplify very nicely. When we set it equal to 0 so that we can find our places where the first derivative is equal to 0, notice again that because we're equal to 0, the entire denominator will cancel when I multiply it over. And so that's really nice. So we only get one value of 2x minus 4 where the function is going to be 0. If I add 4, I get 4 equals 2x, divide by 2, x equals 2. So 2 is where we are going to have our first and only relative max or min. Let's find out what that's equal to. By the way, if you plug 2 into the original function, you'll get that the point is 2, 5. So let's find out if that's a relative max or min. I'm going to check the points 1 and 3 and see if our thing is positive or negative. See if our first derivative. So if so notice now that the denominator will always be positive, and that's if it exists. So this graph only exists where this thing right here is positive. So because we're taking the square root, this will always be positive, so I can ignore it. If I plug in a 1, I get 2 times 1 is 2, minus 4 is negative 2. So I plug in a 1, I get we're falling. Plug in 3, we get 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 4 is positive 2, so we're increasing. Hopefully you see that pattern by now. Decreasing to increasing means that this is going to be a relative minimum. And indeed, that's the answer. If you have any questions on this, please email me and let me know. But hopefully this is starting to make a little bit of sense.